Hello, baby. Did you miss me?
This is Film Juice with Mike,
And John?
and we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation, two of the best and worst video game adaptations to film anyone's ever seen. What do you think, Johnny?
Mortal Kombat, the first film, definitely one of my favorite video game adaptation all around. It has a lot of good things. It's loosely based off the first and second game, really. It has a lot of good actors. Yeah, the fighting sequences were pretty good. The locations were really good too, actually. Whoever did set design actually did really well. The second one was, it's a whole other story, but we'll get to that one.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I thought the first one had like a lot of. I thought the cast was really well
chosen.
Cast. Yeah. And the action was pretty good. The choreography was good, and it didn't feel unrealistic. It felt
right.
I think my problem with it was which I'm gonna regret when I talk about the second movie, but I felt like I wanted there to be actual characters when they died, other than Goro. Because Goro does fall off the side of a cliff. I mean, spoilers if you haven't seen this movie, it's 25 years old. Like, isn't there a guy that, so there's the guy that Liu Kang fights in front of Shang Tsung, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't kill him. I mean, he doesn't deserve to die.
Right.
But Shang Tsung still feels the need to take his soul. So he takes his soul. The guy turns pale. And then the guy that Goro kills, what does he do to him? What did he do to him?
He breaks his back. And...
Okay. He just okay.
Yeah, he lifts him up and then
he breaks him. That guy too.
Right.
I just didn't feel like there's no connection to these people. There's no stakes. It's just like the very next scene, Johnny Cage hits Goro in the balls and launches him off a cliff.
Yeah, so you make a good point. And just a quick synopsis of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't already know. And this is the same with the games as far as the whole Mortal Kombat, the purpose for Mortal Kombat. But yeah, it's a fighting tournament that's held to decide the fate of the world. And in Mortal Kombat, they refer to Earth as like Earth Realm.
Earth Realm, yeah.
And there are these different realms that they call them. So there's Earth Realm. And
is there Mars Realm?
No, but there's an Outworld. And that's where
Shao Kahn.
Yeah, and the whole second movie takes place.
Yeah.
It doesn't take place in Outworld. My bad. It's a merging of Outworld and Earthrealm. But so in this movie, you're following 4 characters through this tournament called Mortal Kombat on Shang Tsung's the antagonist. He's a demon sorcerer on his island. So the whole tournament's being held there on his island. So you have, like we were talking about, the great cast they chose for this movie. You have Robin Shou, who plays Liu Kang. Christopher Lambert, who plays Raiden. Bridget Wilson, who's Sonya Blade. Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage. They're chosen to represent Earth. And Raiden's their guide and helper. He's the god of lightning, and who's there to guide these 3 humans fighters to win Mortal Kombat and save Earth.
Save Earth, yeah.
So it's a simple story, and I think that's the kind of genius in some ways of Mortal Kombat. I'm glad that the director and producers and everything didn't change that simple premise of the story, you know?
Yeah, because it's a fine premise, and you
Yeah.
don't need something like I'm not going to get into it, but Mortal Kombat Legacy. You don't need something like that where everything is quote realistic. You don't need that. It's a fantasy martial arts adventure. It's fine.
And it's this one was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who also
Right.
directed
Resident
Evil, which we talked about. And he's actually been credited to have made the best video game movie adaptation, and especially at this time, because all they had was what Street Fighter, Super Mario Bros.
At the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe Double Dragon, but still, it doesn't matter. No, that was probably the best one at the time. It was pretty faithful and had pretty good special effects. It was pretty, what do you call it? It wasn't too show-offy.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it. Like, it wasn't like a special effects extravaganza or anything like that. It was just, this is what we got. And it was still entertaining. You didn't need any of that.
And this one, out of the two, this one is more accessible to fans and just newcomers.
Like people who have never played the games or never seen anything about it. Anyone can enjoy it.
I liked how the characters just seemed to look good together, and also like just visually.
Right.
And then when like their dialogue was actually
it felt
body language was
organic.
Yeah, it felt organic. Yeah, it didn't feel like something out of a cheesy
action movie.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't they weren't too stiff.
No, it's a fun movie, even though it's it's kind of somber, but it's all about him getting revenge for his brother's death. But I think the thing that bothers me the most is that they made Sonya Blade a damsel in damsel in distress. God damn it! Yeah, he takes her. I think the last third of the movie, and Liu Kang and Johnny Cage going to save her. I thought that was kind of lame.
Well,
like you don't get a reason to fight Shang Tsung.
Well, the thing is too, I didn't mind that so much because it actually fits with Shang Tsung's character, in that he's like the snake, of he's always trying to think of how he can put things in his advantage. So him taking her made sense in that he wanted to force her and basically trick her, because he couldn't necessarily force her, but trick her into agreeing to fight him, and then beat her and win.
Right. Okay.
And he knew that she was the weakest out of the group.
Out of all three of them.
Yeah. So.
No, so I'm stupid.
Exactly. No. I like the actress they chose for her role.
Yeah.
She had, this is, I kind of want to contrast with the one from the second one, because they ended up replacing. Yeah, like they're almost opposites. Like,
I feel like the second one was like a stunt double.
I could see that. And Sonya in the first one, Bridget Wilson, she was able to, her facial expressions actually, you could tell when she's mad and actually be scared,
Well, yeah, because of her eyebrow.
Yeah, she has like that one eyebrow up
that
thing,
one
right?
eyebrow.
She has a unibrow now. That's scary. No,
that's scary.
And then she was actually she wasn't as petite as the Sonya they chose for the second movie.
The second movie felt like they cast a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's so true. Like a mom almost. Like a really.
She was very not a movie star person. I'm sorry.
She should have been in a rom-com, or
Right.
something.
She would have been not in a rom com. Well, maybe, but like the friend in a rom com.
I mean, she looked just as pretty and everything.
She's not ugly. She's not ugly. I'm just saying, like, she doesn't have the right look for like an action movie.
Yeah, exactly. She was so thin, like she almost looked like she was gonna break, like in some,
Yeah.
like she could have played the cheerleader or something.
Right. Yeah. No, the coach of the cheerleaders.
Maybe. I don't know. I think maybe we're getting a little further away. But anyways, Bridget Wilson. Bridget Wilson did a really good job as Sonya.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could tell like she didn't have all that fighting experience,
Yeah.
as like Robin Shue and even Lyndon Ashby seemed to have a little bit.
Hmm.
But yeah, she does. You can tell how she does some of her stunts.
Yeah.
Or
She
still
still
goes at it.
tries. Yeah.
And then she wasn't too skinny to where she didn't look like she couldn't hurt you,
Yeah. She
but she
didn't look
wasn't
wimpy.
right, and she wasn't like, but she wasn't buff like she's gonna like a
Like she was
Shiva.
gonna wreck somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Oh, speaking of Shiva, that was the ugliest movie monster I've ever seen in Annihilation. They didn't even try. Did
I
the
thought,
second set of arms even work? Were they moving?
yeah, they moved. I think they moved with her arms, like with her
Okay.
normal arms,
Oh, so it was that
moving at the same
attached.
time. Yeah,
They
they
were
were acting
attached to
more.
her arms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's fucking gross. Gross.
Goro was really good. The way they made him and everything.
Yeah, all the animatronics and stuff kind of worked.
The,
It
yeah,
looked good.
you could tell he was very limited. Like if
When I was a kid, I was like, "Who's the guy behind? Who's playing him?"
yeah.
And it took me a while to realize, oh, it's a puppet. But that's how good it was. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I had a just kind of off topic. I had a friend that said like we were in like 10th grade, and he was like, "Who played Yoda?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Isn't it Yoda that played the? Isn't it a midget?" I was like, "No, it's a fucking puppet, dude." What? And so I was kind of fooled for a little bit. I was like, "Oh, Goro, who played him?"
Yeah, and he still looks good even to this
It
day.
still looks pretty good, yeah.
Um, which is awesome.
I'm saying like practical effects can't go wrong.
Right.
Um,
I totally agree with you there. Because I mean,
um,
because if you contrast that with the CGI they had at the time,
mhm.
dang man, like
No,
it's
pretty
night and
bad.
day. Yeah, totally,
Um,
totally different.
even Starship Troopers, they had models. And that was 99. Um, they had models of the starships, and they did the CGI over them and behind them.
Oh, it was 97.
Oh, it was 97. See, I'm saying like they were
It
still
still looks
doing it.
good. It still looks.
It still looks pretty good.
The 4K version of that, by the way, is really really good.
Yeah, I love that movie. but okay, so
Oh yeah,
Liu
so
Kang Liu Kang
uh,
drops Shang Tsung on a bunch of spikes in the shape of the Mortal Kombat logo. And he
mhm,
dies and releases all the souls.
which is cool.
And
Yeah.
one of the souls is his brother's. And like you said, it doesn't make any sense for his brothers who have been there.
Yeah. That's
It doesn't make any sense.
if the tournament is once every generation or century
Once every
or whatever.
generation or so many years,
Yeah.
hundreds of years at least, it doesn't make any sense. And
That
why
Liu
is his
Kang's
brother
brother.
there? And why was he not aware that he was there? Um,
Yeah. So that was one. That's one plot hole. It's
it's a plot hole.
yeah. I wouldn't call it a little plot hole. It's a plot hole. So
The
Shang Tsung, you know,
mhm,
he kind of reminds me of like a Satan, like a Lucifer
mhm,
character, because he steals your soul.
right.
He takes your soul and enslaves it, and the souls he's taken, it seems like he controls them as well. Like he
Hmm.
can, like Sub-Zero and Scorpion are his basically warrior slaves.
Right. Yeah. Like
Uh,
he doesn't. Yeah, because they're outworlders. Um, like they come out whenever there's a tournament.
yeah,
I think. Yeah, from what I understand.
it almost did make it seem like they were souls he had taken, but I don't know. Maybe that was my imagination. Like, oh,
No, I mean he may have in the past because he's so many centuries old, right? I don't think there's any. Oh God, the rules of Mortal Kombat are so loose.
right, they
Like
are.
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, and it seems like you battle to the death. That's
Yeah, and that's pretty
in
much
this
it.
tournament. Yeah, Johnny Cage is there. He's an action star, and
Yeah, and he happens to have been trained.
right, as an actual
I
martial artist. He's an actual martial
he's
artist.
right. Yeah, don't know how good he is exactly, but he did kill Scorpion.
The first part of the movie, he thinks he's there. This is just a tournament to prove himself because he
Right. Yeah,
wants
he
to
thinks it's a
prove that
test.
yeah, he wants to prove that he's an actual like badass martial artist. So he goes, and he was tricked, into
Yeah,
going.
he thinks it's yeah, he doesn't know how important it is.
Yeah,
Um
and so they have fun with his character, which is entertaining
no, that's
for the movie.
yeah, he's honestly my favorite character in the movie.
Mm,
Especially when they go down and they like sneak in on Goro's dinner with Kano.
yeah,
Um you find out Kano's just like he's not even taking it seriously either. He just wants to kill Sonya. No, I really like I like that part where Goro's just and he insults him and
Kano tries to get on his good side, kind of, or like he
he
tries to
tries to
and
and
impress him, telling him,
yeah,
"Oh, I'm kind of an underground king myself."
exactly yeah, and that turkey leg looks really good.
Yeah, that turkey leg did look good, and he was like spitting out a bunch of stuff. I was like, "Why are you spitting it
Oh
out?"
yeah, it's disgusting. At the same time, it's like that
Like,
looks really good. Why are you spitting it out? But he's just like such a slob, spitting just particles just from his mouth, just on everything. And well, I'm kind of an underworld master myself, or whatever the fuck he says. God, disgusting, man. I wonder who that actor is actually. I don't know.
Trevor Goddard or Goddard. Trevor Goddard.
No idea. I'm sure he's a good actor.
Apparently, he's in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like seeing a villain intimidate other villains.
Cool.
But yeah, she kind of, I think I felt like she kind of beat him a little too easily. But the important thing is that she did beat him. So not a huge complaint.
Like Kano is a big enough, like he's actually like, he's got some muscle in him.
Yeah.
And you see them like next to each other, and when he swings at her and hits her and whatnot, I was like, dang, like.
Oh yeah, he hit her pretty good.
And when he kicks her in the stomach.
Oh yeah, and she's like, oh.
I thought that was a pretty good fighting scene altogether.
Yeah, generally it was okay.
I think it
was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it could have been longer too, honestly. And
like a blood sport scene.
Something along those lines. Yeah. The second one's pretty bad when it comes to that, because you like Raiden, you see his double a lot, like in the fighting scenes.
In general, the second one is pretty bad.
Yeah. In the first one, it sounded like a lot of them did their own stunts, like a lot of their stunts.
Oh, really?
I was seeing something where Liu Kang, Robin Shu, he actually broke a rib when he was fighting Reptile. There's a scene where I want to say it's either Reptile or Sub-Zero, but he's thrown against a pillar.
Mm-hmm.
And he
okay.
That shot is when he actually broke his rib and was thrown against that pillar.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I mean, Reptile was one of it was one of the most disappointing characters of the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
I felt like, I don't know.
All three ninjas were, but in some ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Out of all of them, Reptile made
no sense. Reptile was like a little creature that inhabited a statue that became a ninja. How does that make sense? Just have Reptile be a mutated person that's a ninja. What's wrong with that? Everyone else is a mutant, and Reptile just comes out, fights Liu Kang. I don't think he even spits acid at him, right?
Right, no acid.
So what's special about him?
He turns invisible and is a lizard.
Oh.
And has a long tongue.
Well, he should just stay invisible. Get away from the movie.
I liked Reptile a lot too, so I was disappointed that
he died
the way he did.
Yeah, the fatality where he just takes off his mask and spits acid on whoever. That's a great fatality.
That is, yeah.
I was expecting that, and instead he just like a little lizard guy that inhabits a statue or two statues.
Right. It would have been cool if like let's say like Shang Tsung just like calls him out from like the shadows, you know?
Right,
and then he just like boom appears or comes out of like this real dark, shadow area.
Oh, he just like appears, yeah.
And he's like, Reptile, I want you to
Reptile,
stop.
take care of, yeah.
Or whatever. And
instead he just shows up wherever, and his powers don't make sense.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have had to use the CG either. They could have just kept him human, or not human, but as a ninja.
Ninja, yeah. It's like they were afraid of having more than one colored ninja in the movie, but that's the way the game is, so.
Right.
I mean, who cares?
Sub-Zero and Scorpion, though, it was really cool that they did a lot of fan service for
yeah.
It's what, like an hour and a half movie?
Mhm.
With that short amount of time, they had some good appearances, some decent appearances from Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Are you talking about the first one or the second one?
The first one.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
I would say the
'cause-
second one had like too much.
Yeah, it was too many characters. But yeah, like Sub-Zero freezing the tip of Sonya's gun in the boat was pretty cool. You feel that tension between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and then the Earth Realm team.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Sub-Zero freezing that one guy on Shang Tsung's island.
Oh yeah.
He breaks apart and his head just like is there frozen at Shang Tsung's foot.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I mean, the more you do with the powers, the more it kind of elevates, I think, the movies. Because otherwise they're just fighting movies. Like there's nothing much else to them.
Right. That's a good point, actually, that you bring up. For this first one, the powers and whatnot are they're presented in a way that isn't too overboard.
Yeah.
And it has a style. It's with style.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, you got to give it to the director for doing that well. That's hard to do. While I was watching the movie, I was like, I'm familiar with these characters. I'm familiar with their powers. I wonder, as someone who didn't know this stuff, what I would think.
They probably think it's pretty bad.
I was thinking about that. I was like, if I just saw this random, like these colored ninjas,
like this, like if I saw a karate movie about people that had superpowers, it'd probably be pretty absurd.
Yeah,
even though it's supposed to be.
Right. And if I saw Goro for the first time in the movie, what would I think?
Or Shiva.
Oh yeah, that's bad. She's ugly.
No, she's very sexy.
With her swimsuit.
With her swimsuit.
Baywatch.
Her swimsuit. Plunging swimsuit. Speaking of which, okay, all right. So Annihilation. How, on a range of 1 to 10, how would you say, 10 being the worst, how bad do you think that movie is?
10 being the worst. I'd say it's definitely up there with 8,
Yeah,
I'd say
at least
8. Yeah, at least.
I would say at least 8. Yeah.
That one, even as a fan, that one's a cheesy superpower martial arts action movie.
If you're a fan, I would say if you liked it, then you're not really a fan. Because it's awful. And everyone should hate that movie. I really hate that movie.
Surprisingly, after the credits rolled, I saw that John Tobias, which is one of the co-creators of Mortal Kombat, him and Ed Boon.
They didn't write it, did they?
John Tobias helped with the writing.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
For the second one. And the main producer actually helped with the writing as well.
Oh, God.
So, and there was one other person. There was 3 people that
so
worked on the
they
story.
thought it was a good movie. That's embarrassing.
That is pretty embarrassing.
As a human being. So Shao Kahn shows up at the end of the first one, right? And he looks like a scary skeleton face man.
Right, yeah.
And then he shows up in the second one, and he's just a guy with a mask. He's got like a bunch of goons.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of weird the take they went with the second one, in that Shao Kahn being the son of an elder
Oh,
god.
the son of like an elder god, and the elder god doesn't even look like an elder god.
He does not look like anything
He looks like a
special at
little
all.
old man.
Yeah. Like god of
What the hell is that?
guys. Yeah, very scrawny,
He's like a little old man with a beard.
He's not doesn't look threatening at all.
No.
Like Shao Kahn is supposed to look. And Shao Kahn has a little menacing kind of look to him
Well,
in the movie.
I think I
But
told you before that I saw in a player's guide, I think to the Mortal Kombat 2, that you open it up and it tells you about each character, right? And it opens up to Shao Kahn, and he was the same race as Baraka.
oh wow.
And he's got no irises or no pupils, like his eyes are just white. And he's got spikes on his head. And he looks horrifying. And to see him in Annihilation, just some guy, it's fucking disappointing. He should have kept the helmet on, or make it part of his face. I don't know. Or maybe make it not a helmet and it's just the way his head is.
Could have been cool for him to have had some kind of facial
Prosthetics.
Yeah. Have him look a little more threatening and actually keep his
Yeah.
helmet on most of
Yeah,
the
a
time.
little more like, I
Because
don't
he
know,
looks
a little
like a
more
human.
like a monster.
Right. And interestingly enough, so the first one was written by Kevin Droney,
Mm-hmm.
and then the second one was written by the producer Lawrence Kasanoff, Joshua Wexler, and John Tobias. And Lawrence
Jesus.
Kasanoff produced the first one too. But I think they just wanted to get it out. Get out
Yeah,
another
they
one.
just wanted to. The first one was pretty successful, probably. I'm assuming. And they just wanted to. Yeah, they just wanted to get it out there. Make some more money.
It was 18 million budget and 122.1 million box office.
See, holy crap, that's pretty good.
And the second one was 30 million budget and 51.3 million box office.
How did it cost more?
I know.
That movie sucked.
It did suck.
Okay. All right. So, but we got to talk about why it sucked. Okay. So we got Sindel, right?
Oh yeah. She was so annoying.
All these characters they dragged out from the video games, they look great. They look like cosplay people at a comic book convention.
Yeah.
But when it comes to whether they serve the story, yeah, no. They did not. Because they also had Nightwolf. Is it Nightwolf?
Mm-hmm.
There's Nightwolf, and remember Jade?
Yep. They had
Shiva, Ermac.
Yeah. They had what's his name? Smoke.
Oh, they
Uh,
had Smoke too.
the cyborg Smoke.
Oh yeah, and the other one, the yellow one,
Cyrax.
Cyrax.
Did they have the red one too? I think they did, right? Or no?
Probably. Why wouldn't they? Um,
True. And they mentioned Stryker and Cabal.
yeah, they mentioned them. We have taken Stryker and Cabal.
It's
So just
funny,
shut up. Why all of a sudden?
right? So a lot of those characters were taken from Mortal Kombat 3.
3, yeah.
Um, and the only one who didn't show up, or well, and who wasn't even mentioned, was Kung Lao.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sector. That's the red cyborg.
Oh, Sector is the red one. I don't think they mentioned him.
Mm-mm. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's funny. They Rain and Ermac are in there.
why Ermac?
Uh,
Ermac is the lamest fucking character.
right.
He doesn't do anything.
He was fan service for sure because he was a huge in the arcade versions. I believe it was in the second one. Yeah, I think it was the second one. There was something that would happen where people swore that they saw a red ninja, and they thought it was a hidden character, like in the first one where Reptile's a hidden
Oh,
character.
okay.
And so this whole thing came about Ermac, it's a hidden character or whatever, and so they actually
I see.
made him into a character.
But why make him a movie character? Like that doesn't sound like good.
I think it was just because I think the fan service kind of thing. It was like it was kind of like a big rumor in the
Oh,
arcades,
okay.
and it's kind of a nod, I guess, to them.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Um,
The
but
other ones, like Cyrax, that whole scene of Sonya Blade being like, "Oh my goodness, Jax, what have you done now?" And I'm like, "What? What?
why are you
He's got metal
like that?
arms.
Yeah, and he's
He
like,
has metal arms."
and he's strapped
Um,
to a table.
yeah, he's strapped to a table. He's unconscious, and she's like, "Jesus, oh goodness, Jax, what have you done to yourself?" He's like, "Oh goodness me, I got me some metal arms." Um, yeah, it's stupid, stupid. Um, the scene after that, where Liu Kang fights Melina, and he sees her, and the first thing he says is, "Katana?" Like, no, you idiot. Why would it be Katana?
No, it's not Liu
Why
Kang.
would you?
It's it's not Liu Kang. It's Sonya fights Melina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right.
He says something at some
She,
point, and he's like,
she does.
"Katana?" And it's like,
She says
why
it.
do you think?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
she says it. She's like Katana, and then Melina's like, "You wish."
You wish. Yeah. Why would it be Katana? Why would it be Katana? Why would she wear a mask?
Well, the
It
thing
doesn't make
is,
any fucking sense.
yeah, she's supposed to be basically Katana's opposite.
Yeah, she is also her sister in the game, right?
Yes.
But
And
she also has like sharp teeth.
right under the mask.
Yeah, she takes it off and she bites people's heads off.
Yeah. And yeah, she's basically Shao Kahn's actual kind of daughter that he would rather have, basically, than Katana. You know, it was weird. After they're done fighting, you know, she's all in this mud and everything because they're like mud fighting for a little bit there,
Oh yeah.
which was I thought was kind of funny too. But Jax is like, he says something along the lines like, "You're dirty, but you look good in mud," or something like
Yeah.
that. And she's like, "Jax," and he's like, "Well, it's true," or something like that.
Or like when after that, I guess it's after that or during that Raiden shows up with his like his buzzed hair and he's mortal or whatever. And what is Raiden says something like Raiden says something and Jax is like these babies here. Like he's talking about his arms and he's like, these babies here is all that I need. And Raiden's like, faith in yourself is all that you need. And I was like, what a horrible line of dialogue. Like what
they
the
made
hell?
they made Raiden's line so cheesy.
Yeah, they made him it wasn't even that, it was the delivery of them.
It was both.
Yeah, both.
It was both. I mean, he talks like he's a freaking like Barney or
Like
something.
some kind of guru.
Like he's Barney Raiden. I love you. You love me.
You love me.
You love me.
You
We're
love
a happy
me.
family.
This is your destiny.
You are family now.
My
You must
family
protect each
is
other.
your destiny.
Don't be a fool.
I don't think so.
See, but your voice sounds more like the first Raiden from the first movie.
That's what I was going for.
Okay, because it was like the second movie, he sounds more like, I don't know what he sounds like.
I don't know what he sounds like. He sounds a little more passive. He doesn't sound as defensive.
You know, we haven't really hit the worst parts of this movie yet, I don't think.
What's the worst part?
Okay. Okay, one of the worst parts. I think there's two. It's kind of hard for me to say which one is the worst, but
just pick one.
One of them is along the lines with Raiden's dialogue, and it also the first movie, Mortal Kombat, they have to win Mortal Kombat to save the world, right?
Right.
The second movie is
he's cheating.
Right. He's opened some portals, what they call them, some portals that connect Outworld with Earthrealm. This is what Shao Kahn did, and somehow it's basically swallowing Earth, like it's merging. He's somehow merging Outworld.
Merging the two.
Yeah. and he wants that to happen so he can rule over both of them. And so they're trying to find out how to stop all this. And what they say is, well, Katana and Sindel basically are the keys to stopping all this. And so Sindel apparently has the power to close these portals, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she's evil. She's working with Shao Kahn,
Yeah, because she died, and then he brought her back and made her evil.
And so Katana, her daughter, they end up kind of like knocking out Sindel in the movie, and all the Earth Realm warriors come together with Raiden, and he says, "Okay, Katana, we have Sindel here. It's your love that's gonna turn her back, and that's all that you need is your love." And he just says it weird, like it's just weirdly put like that too, and it's
But
like, what the?
How do you do that?
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, how are they gonna do this? And so you see Katana walking up to Sindel, who's laying there, and she said, I've been praying for ages that we would be reunited. And Sindel wakes up and laughs at her.
Oh yeah.
and that's when you find out Jade is working against them as well and tricked them, and then they just take off. She like hits Katana or something, and then she whips around and takes off, which I thought was weird. And it's like, okay, so Raiden, you're wrong about her love, for one, and
so
turns out all they had to do is go kill Shao Kahn.
I mean, that's what they should have done in the first place.
Right.
If she turned out to love her, then how's that gonna stop Shao Kahn? He's not gonna care. Like, oh, you love your daughter? Oh, and then he just kills both of them, and then he just takes over both worlds for no reason. Also, why does he want to take over both worlds?
It doesn't say. It just he's just a conqueror, but
he's just a conqueror.
It doesn't say what he has to gain.
He doesn't particularly want both worlds, but why not?
Right. And then the other big worst part of this movie is in the first 5 minutes of this movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, so it takes place directly after the first one.
Yeah.
When they kill Johnny Cage?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was like, okay, first of all, why Johnny Cage's character took some leaps from the first film, but not to where he's gonna like immediately try to kill a conqueror.
Mm-hmm. And this is what kind of happened, for the third game as well. They had issues with the third release, Mortal Kombat 3.
Mm-hmm.
And from my understanding, this was like not having Johnny Cage, and then a few other characters too, like Scorpion. Is partly why they had to re-release the third game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there was Ultimate Mortal Kombat that ended up coming out.
Mm-hmm.
that included. It didn't have Johnny Cage, but it did include Scorpion, a few other ninjas, and yeah, it was just I can't believe they did that. They killed Johnny Cage like 5 minutes into the movie because shoot,
they were trying to raise the stakes, and it felt like so phony and stupid and pointless, and
yeah,
and also they didn't even have the original actor.
that wasn't him.
No.
Oh shoot! No wonder he looked
It
a
looked
little
like
different.
him.
Yeah, it did
Yeah, it
look
looked
like
like
him.
it looks like him. But it's like they hired him just to look like him, I
What
guess.
the? That's so weird. Wow. I wonder why they didn't come back. Maybe it was because of the bad
I don't know
script,
why.
or
I think it was budget. Like they didn't hire them back. I think it was just they spent all the money on the cheap special effects and the cheap prosthetics that they put on Shiva and Motaro was the worst one, in my opinion. Motaro looked horrible because Motaro is a gigantic, beastly
Minotaur,
Minotaur guy.
right?
Yeah, and they made him look like some Hispanic guy with like a little bit of a mustache and some horns, and then they put him in a horse costume, and I thought he looked horrible. That's my opinion. I don't know.
I thought he looked okay.
I'm Hispanic. I just thought he looked horrible. I thought he looked like so fucking cheap. He didn't match the costume, and he should be like, they should have hired like a bodybuilder type guy.
Oh, you think he should have been bigger?
I think he should have been more cut, like way bigger. I don't know. I could be wrong. It's just he just didn't look right. He didn't look right to me at all. Like he had this like really thin upper build, and then like a big old little horse's ass coming out of him. And it just didn't, to me, it didn't look right. Like he should have, if you're going to do that, then make the horse way skinnier. Malnourish the horse. Shiva just looks stupid. Why?
To be fair, she always looked like that, even in the game. Though.
I was gonna say, like it's a really stupid question, but why would you go around wearing that? But she does. But she does. So, I mean, most of them, right?
They in this one, I thought it was interesting how they brought in more. They brought in the video game costumes.
Yeah.
And for like the cyborgs, I think that worked for the most part. Mm-hmm. They look pretty good. The ninjas as well, but yeah, like with Shiva, Sindel, even Melina a little bit. It started looking a little.
Oh, Melina, yeah.
Too many. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked pretty
too
bad.
much.
A little much. I mean, collectively, the two movies shouldn't be sequels to each other.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that.
I think they're each standalone films. Like, you don't need Annihilation, and you don't need the first one to see Annihilation. I mean, if you're a little kid, Annihilation might be fun.
True. Yeah.
I think they're two separate movies. I don't see them as prequels or sequels to each other.
I was looking at the second movie poster.
Mm-hmm.
At the top, it says "Destroy all expectations." It's like, yeah,
I
dang,
did.
yep.
Destroy all expectations. I don't even. God damn it! Who directed the second one?
Let me see. John R. Leonetti.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's about
He
65.
That was
What
his
are you?
first film. It looks like that he directed.
Interesting.
He was the cinematographer for the first one, and
Oh, he directed Annabelle.
he actually did a lot of like good cinematography.
He should stick to that. Um,
Yeah, what a this is a whole lot of bad choices on this movie. I wonder if they just wanted to
yeah.
get rich.
I think
Like,
they were desperate for a sequel, and probably Paul W.S. Anderson, who we've previously said is an all right director. He probably just he didn't want to, which is weird. But a lot of times directors don't want anything to do with movies that are firmly controlled by the studio. So they probably wanted, like, we want more characters in this movie. We want this to happen, and we want this to happen. A lot of times that puts off directors, and they don't want to do it. Like,
and,
we want Mataro and Shiva to fight Jax, and he's like, all right, I'll make it happen. I mean, how do you feel about the franchise overall?
the franchise overall.
Yeah. I mean, the movie franchise.
Oh, sorry. I mean, it's gone the way of most video game adaptations, sadly.
Mm.
I haven't seen Legacy, but
Okay. I mean, it's not really that. I wouldn't even count it as a movie.
you wouldn't? Okay.
It. I mean, it's a web series that was edited into being a movie for DVD.
Okay.
So I would just say the first two.
Okay. So yeah, overall I think as far as the movies go, I think they're I think it's a good I think it's a good set of movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird how they're opposites in a lot of ways.
It is weird.
It's
Like,
like, wow,
why?
like
Yeah, like, why are they so? Like, one is a movie and the other one is like a fan film.
mhm.
Why are they like that? And I don't know how much control the I know Ed Boon has, like, a lot of control over the franchise, but why they turned out like that, I have no idea. I mean,
It's
what positives do you have about both movies?
um
Or either one?
Let's see. So positives about, I think positives about both that they both share is that they actually have fighting.
True. Yeah.
And not all of it's good, of course, but they actually stick to the core of the source material in that way.
Right. Yeah.
I think one of the things that makes a good martial arts film in general is, I think, probably 60-70%, maybe 70 is a little too much, but 60% of a good martial arts film is the fighting,
Of course.
And they really fell short on the second one on not getting people who could fight,
Yeah, I think the first one, like when I was saying like the unnamed stuntmen in the first one were like, it's like, who is this character supposed to be? They're not in the games. But it serviced the plot because it made the other characters look like they could fight. And it also provided for good fight scenes. So even though the guy that got beat up by Goro, even though he died, like he could still do a split,
Right.
and he could throw a punch, and like I shouldn't complain too much about that because they were probably stunt coordinators, and they were just, the director was just like, hey, can you be on screen for this? It's better than like as much as when I saw the first movie, I was hoping for like a bunch of, I was hoping for the second one. And then when I watched the first one, I came out more satisfied than probably would have been seeing all the shit that was in the second one. So
yeah.
When I saw the first one, I was like, oh, I'm gonna see Cabal, and I'm gonna see Stryker, and I'm gonna see Cyrax, and none of that happened. But it was still good. I wasn't disappointed when I was a kid. I saw it with my parents. I was like 8 years old, and it was still pretty good. And I remember seeing the second one with a bunch of friends, and my friend's mom, she took us, and I came out feeling nothing. Like I literally, I was just like, what was that?
Especially when they killed Johnny Cage. I remember seeing that for the first time, and I was like, what the?
Yeah, I was like, why? Why kill him? Why?
I was like, no.
You don't have to kill him. And he actually did one of his signature moves, the shadow kick. It didn't work, Johnny. It didn't work at all. And it was just like, even like just from how do I put it? Like just like visually, it didn't work. it was ugly. Like everything looked kind of like a vague purple. Everything looked just kind of gross.
That too, yeah. In that second movie,
Yeah,
I remember in the DVD it being very dark.
it is.
Um, uh,
Why didn't Raiden help?
that too, and why he had to lose his powers,
His mortality, his immortality.
immortality. Yeah,
I don't get that. Why did that happen? Um,
and then they turn him at the end when they win. It's like they turn him
oh,
into like the god of wind or something, elder god of
Thunder.
wind.
I think it's Thunder.
But at the end of the movie, he
Oh,
didn't
at the
have
end of the
lightning
movie.
anymore. Yeah, he had like a mist, like dirt flowing around him or something.
I guess they can do that.
You know, it was weird too. I mean, just not know the original storyline from between the second and third game, but or Shinnok is Raiden's dad and Shao Kahn's dad,
Hmm.
and
In the second one.
yeah, in the second movie,
Yeah, I was like, is that Shinnok?
and yeah, so they actually say they don't say his name until the very end,
Hmm.
and because I was wondering the same thing, and yeah, they say it at the very end, is Shinnok, and yeah, I was like, what? I don't remember that in the games, but
Um, the movies just kind of make it up as they go along. I'm glad they didn't make more.
so they're rebooting the whole thing.
Yeah, they're probably gonna base it more on. I mean, the games don't have a great story, but it's at least more consistent than the movies.
They're keeping very quiet about it. I'm surprised
Yeah,
more leaks haven't come out.
I mean, Ed Boon has come out and he said like that he's gonna rewrite it and
I
he's
haven't
gonna
I haven't
he's
heard
gonna
that.
be in charge of it.
Oh, okay.
He's come out and said that a couple of times in the past. I'm not going to say even few years, in the past years.
Mm,
But it's one of those things like it may not ever happen. Um, Mortal Kombat Legacy may be the closest we may ever get to a new movie.
well, they're done filming
Oh, are they done?
this new one. It's supposed to come out. I think it was supposed to come out this year at the end of the year or something like that.
Oh, wow.
It's set to come out next year, and it was directed by Simon McCoy. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that
Me neither.
director. The guy from the Power Rangers movie is actually
Okay.
yeah, Power Rangers movie. He was the Black Ranger.
Okay. Oh, that guy. Okay. Yeah.
He's the Asian guy. He's Chinese. He's playing Liu Kang. So
Cool.
um, it's happening. I just wonder what direction they're going to take this one.
If they do like a PG-13 one, I mean, hopefully they'll at least be true to the story.
Hopefully. Um,
Because they obviously can't do that kind of gore.
right. I mean, it's been 25 years, so it's
Yeah, it's time enough, I guess.
so. Any final thoughts?
I would say the first one is one of the best video game adaptations I've seen, even though it's like a departure from the video games. The second one is really close to the video games, and it's awful. I don't know why it's awful. I think it's just so cheesy and so on the nose and so pandering. I think it's pandering, and it talks down to you if you're a fan, and it makes you feel like an idiot. Like, yeah, I know who Sindel is. I know who Shiva is. You don't got to do that. The first one didn't do that. The first one kind of respects you, and it's like, here's Sub-Zero. He's just going to show up. Okay. Use that, which... What did she say? What did she say? Use that which brings life, or some shit.
Oh,
And
yeah, in the first one.
Yeah, and he...
Use the element of life.
Yeah, use the element which brings life. And he swings it and throws an icicle at Sub-Zero. Okay, I don't need Scorpion to fight Sub-Zero or throw... Oh, now he's got 2 things coming out of his wrist. What's the point of that? It
and
just feels like...
see them again.
And you never see them again.
In the second movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one is more respectful to the audience. The second one is very pandering and stupid.
Right.
I think those are my final thoughts.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. The first one had a sense of style, respect for the source material, respect for the fans, and just the viewers in general, and still felt like a film.
Yeah.
And still reminded you of the game, even though Mortal Kombat was never really about the story. For a long time, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was about the blood, the gore.
The gore and the fighting.
Yeah. And so, they led, throughout both movies, they did lead you to the fights. First one was more, again, you still had that more style with it. The second one, it was it was more wonky, more often than not, with the fight scenes, and then the story itself was just, it didn't feel like a movie. It didn't feel like a feature film,
Right. Yeah.
And they didn't even get the original actors, and they're...
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Raiden is replaced. Johnny Cage is replaced
Sonya
and
was
killed.
replaced.
Sonya was replaced, yeah. So, yeah, to me, it'd be better if the second one just didn't exist. And if you're going to do a film, do it right,
Yeah. No, really.
I will say, though, the music in the first one was really good as well. The music that they use is it's a clever mixture between the techno underground music of the time and the kind of cultural...
That's true.
Like ancient instruments and stuff that were combined with techno stuff. And that actually, to me, reminded me of the game. How the sounds are used throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
You hear like these kind of like gongs or like bells and different instruments that almost sounded like they were sampled from the game into some of those songs in the soundtrack. And the score. So that one was really good, I think, overall. And the second one it was just soulless in that aspect too.
It's true. It's a pretty hollow movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's full of things, but there's nothing behind them. Like there's nothing but the intention to put them in there.
Right.
So overall, first one good? Yes.
Yeah, very good. I wouldn't even say just good. It's very good.
Second one bad?
Horrible.
Horrible. Not just bad.
Not just bad.
Yeah, unforgivable. Well, I guess that concludes our
Conversation.
Yeah. I don't know what to call it. Conversation
Our
about
reflection.
these movies. Oh,
Yeah.
reflections on this movie. Don't ever watch, if you have never watched it, don't ever watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation unless you're morbidly curious. Of course, watch the first one if you want. It's very good.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
it's not close to the video games, but it's pretty good. It's not tasteless. So should we close out? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I think we should. Well, thanks everyone for listening in, and join us in the conversation and the comments, and feel free to let us know what you liked and didn't like as far as the movies go, or we brought up that are things we didn't bring up. Let us know, and we appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
And let us know if you hate us. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. This is
Bye.
Film Juice signing off.
Bye-bye.
Oh, give me a break. Hey. Look, don't let them get to you.
Yeah, sure.